On Wednesday, 31st of July, as many Nigerians were making plans either to be part of the nationwide protest scheduled for the next day or watch proceedings online, the National Assembly already amended the Central Bank of Nigeria Act of 2007. The lawmakers passed a bill to amend Section 38 of the CBN Act, raising the allowance for federal government borrowings from the Central Bank of Nigeria to 10% from the previous threshold of 5%. Known as Ways and Means, the process is supposed to serve as an emergency form of funding for the government, limited to 5% of previous year's actual revenue, so as not to threaten macroeconomic stability that is required for growth and jobs. However, since the bastardization of the process by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Tinubu government has now legislated what was an illegal practice under the former president. In the presentation of the bill, Senate leader Yemi touted 3 reasons for the increase. First, he said that the bill will help finance budget deficit. Second, lead loans will support essential government expenditures, stabilize the financial market by preventing government's default, and stimulate economic activity by creating jobs. Third, the increase will allow government to support critical sectors such as agriculture and healthcare and provide infrastructure development while reducing borrowing costs by offering cheaper funds than traditional methods. There are many dimensions to this. I will focus on just 2. First, the process. While this measure had been muted before, the timing and speed of passing the bill shows legislative recklessness. From widely available reports, the opposition to the bill was more than those in favor of it, but he still passed. For all intents and purposes, the current National Assembly is not pretending to surpass the pedestrian approach to legislative matters by the last session and continues to exhibit a joyous admission that it is prepared to pass any bill presented to it by the executive. It is no wonder that the National Assembly is not contented with the carelessness of a voice vote in 2024, but also passed such a significant legislation with such speed. To their credit, the National Assembly is attempting to legitimize the gross inequality under President Muhammadu Buhari. As the data-by-data fight shows, the ways and means under President Buhari was between 37.2% in 2017 and a whopping 138% in 2021. In addition, contrary to stipulation of the Act, the Ways and Means was not only secretive, but the repayment was only securitized to be paid over 40 years at the twilight of the administration. And that brings me to the second dimension of this legislation. Contrary to what legislators that supported the bill thinks, the raise in the borrowing allowance from the central bank will not only not solve the problem, but it is also tying the hands of the central bank governor in his efforts to stabilize the naira and prices. Perhaps if the president has a chief economic advisor, he or she would have told the president that the reason we are in this mess is because the federal government is not disciplined about his finances. Perhaps he or she will tell the president that the raise is only required because the budget was optimistic and unrealistic in the first place. Indeed, who is going to tell the president that deficits can also be addressed by cutting costs and not only by raising revenue through central banks borrowing that generates greater levels of macroeconomic instability? Who is going to tell the president that Nigerians don't believe his economic policies anymore because he is quick to expand government expenditures on the pleasures of government officials, but very slow on implementing policies that cut government costs, such as the Horon report? In conclusion, the reason Ways and Means is called inflation tax is not just because it causes unsustainable levels of inflation like we have now. It is also because it enriches federal government at the expense of the state government, the private sector, and the citizens. In addition, its effects on pricing stability are what destroys the economic's ability to grow and create jobs. It is its effects on inflation that leads to capital flight and the increases in interest rates for investors and manufacturers. It is its effects on prices and instability that continue to drive Naira's instability. Who is going to tell the president that when you are in a crisis, you stop digging? And by extension, you don't tie the hands of your central bank governor, who is being held responsible for stabilizing the economy. But the root cause is unsustainable fiscal practices, such as the federal government's continuously spending monies it has not earned. For more of my thoughts, please visit tb.africa. I thank you.